Hello, everybody. This is the CEO and founder of Jondoms.
Jondoms!
Okay, everybody needs a little bit of avocado in them, as will today here.
CEO and founder of Jondoms, ladies and gentlemen, the baker. Hey, John, can you see my background, by the way? Can y'all see my screen? What's behind me?
Yeah, it looks like John's face.
Yeah.
Back.
I'm just going to do this and mimic your hands all night, John.
Yeah, I think this is the sexiest background you've had by far.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me tonight, Mr. CEO. Who else do we have with us?
We have Jessica and our special guest. This side.
Hey there.
Mr. Miller,
David.
thank you for joining us tonight. Y'all, David is a business analyst and logistics expert that is busy out and about doing things. But we were talking this week and we synced heads on a lot of issues. So, David, thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to throw a bunch of stuff at you here over this next 20 minutes, but we are glad to have you, sir.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to have some things thrown at me.
Yeah. Jess, you with us?
Oh, I'm here.
Awesome. You're always here. Oh, what a dumb question. Yeah. All right, so tonight, guys, before we get started, I know we have a couple of announcements for this week. One, we're going to talk about Jondoms tonight, the avocado-flavored condom of this show. But, John, you kicked it off with that, so don't need to stay on that any longer. Another thing, guys, we had a big week this week. I know it's been on social media, but that LeVar Ball endorsing this show, that was pretty cool, right?
Literally at the end of the video, that was the best part. Hollered.
Yeah. So if y'all haven't seen John or Luke or myself or Jessica or the show's social media this week, I'm gonna play this video for y'all on my screen real quick. If y'all are on YouTube, y'all will see this. Y'all always hear me endorse why you should watch the YouTube version of this show. But we're gonna you'll hear the audio real quick if you're just on the podcast. So.
Will Marsh, what's going down, man? It's the Big Baller, baby. I gotta show you much love, man, and give you a huge shout out on that success of building an awesome podcast. The way we see it, it's going down, man. I like your style, Triple B style. Big Baller Brand is in the building, baby, and you know how we do this. For all you folks out there, go check out his website at www.wheelsworldchannel.com. I'm gonna say it again, wheelsworldchannel.com. You want the real deal on that podcast? That's the way we see it. Now you go see it. Triple B style. Big Baller Brand is in the building, baby, and you know how we do this. But Big Baller's out, baby, and holla.
That's the best part.
He's the man.
CEO and founder of Big Baller Company, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Ball, thank you for coming on the show with us this week. So just had to share that.
I gotta ask, why avocado flavored?
Oh, that's such a good question, David. I'm so glad you dived into this. All right, John, give us the elevator pitch on Jondoms. So to back up, David, a few weeks ago, John pitched us on the show on this business idea he had, and we started running with it. So let's call it a 60-second elevator pitch. John, go.
All right, so I was sitting at home eating an avocado. All right, I was like, man, this thing's great. And then my roommate walked in and she specified like, oh, I can't eat a whole avocado because it's got a lot of latex and stuff in it. I was like, okay, there's latex in an avocado. All right. I wonder if we can merge this with another idea to make biodegradable avocado flavored condoms. All right. I was like, hey, everybody's pretty much done after 10 minutes. 15 minutes is how long you have, you know. And then afterwards, you can just flush it down the toilet, biodegradable. I mean, probably edible if you really wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it afterwards, but...
No, John, you said the other week that you would want to eat it and put it in your mouth.
I did not say that. Hold that recording right now. I want to hear it.
I will send you a link. We are on a live show. Actually, you know what? I'll find it. Actually, I'd have to watch the whole YouTube video, but if I can find it, I'll text it to you tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to see it. I never at any point said that. I said it's a possibility that people can use it for such, but I didn't say I would, because, you know, I get my protein elsewhere, all right, from like chicken. Chicken's a good source of protein. not
All
with
right.
my
So,
body.
so now that we have a business analyst on the show, Mr. Miller, you have heard this idea. Jessica, like we did when we did the museum episode, we're gonna play thumbs up or thumbs down.
All right. Thumbs up.
Time for the business analyst. David.
I'll give it a thumbs up. Biodegradable, nice flavor. I don't know how it's manufactured, but I don't know. John might need to speak for himself on the whole 10 to 15 minutes thing, but
I'll have to test it out a couple times. I'm just saying. Yeah,
maybe average. But
I gotta see how long it'll last. See if it
save the turtles.
Maybe the third. Just saying.
Well, we'll bring you back in for consulting on this, David. Once we go into manufacturing and production. We've got our graphic design work down so far, but that's about where we're at. So, thank you, John. So moving on here real quick. One thing I wanted to ask you guys about, Jess, you and John the past couple of weeks had been talking about this Afghanistan crisis, both on Weekly Wallet Wagers and on The Way We See It. I know that we talk about markets, petroleum prices, economies on this show. That's exactly what we are here at Weekly Wallet Wagers. But David, Jess, John, how do y'all think that this Afghanistan situation that seems to be unfolding daily is going to affect our oil prices and our petroleum market?
Domestically versus internationally, I think is a very different question. Since about a third of our oil is made domestically, and then about half of our imported oil comes from Canada, and another 10% from Mexico, and then I think about 7% from Russia and 7% from Saudi Arabia, a little bit from Nigeria and Iraq as well. But the majority of our oil comes from the United States, Mexico, or Canada. And so domestic United States oil prices aren't going to fluctuate too much depending on what the Middle East is doing. At most, 10 to 15% is what I would estimate to be the largest fluctuation in our domestic oil prices here that we see at this point. Since previous conflicts in the past, we've become a lot more oil independent in the United States than years past. And so this isn't quite as big of an issue as it would have been previously. But internationally, we might see a big fluctuation in that part of the world in power balances. I think the power vacuum created by the Taliban themselves may seem a right market for being taken over by the Russians or etc. I don't know. I'm not going to put ideas in their head, certainly, but I see opportunity for some advantage to be taken in those areas. But domestically, I don't expect too much fluctuation.
Man, you just started spitting off like.
Holy cow! I was about to say, like, Aya, when you edit this video tomorrow, make sure you send David here a cast staff contract. We want him back on this show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. No, I mean, but David, you raised a bunch of good points, though. I mean, I'll let John and Jess kind of dive into that in a second, but like you hit on a lot of points there. One of which answered a big question for us. Us as Americans domestically, how much do we have to worry about it? And I mean, according to these numbers, makes it sound like, I mean, we're pretty stable here regardless of that situation.
For the time being, unless oil reserves dry up in our domestic sources, and in Canada, it seems that there's a pretty ample supply coming from there as well. I know a big pipeline from Alaska has been supplying us a lot of our oil. There have been some pipeline stoppages through the Biden administration, and so that, I would argue, will cause more fluctuation in our gas prices than anything going on overseas.
Okay, so that was going to be, you read my mind, David. My next question was going to be, I mean, we try to stay away from politics on this show, but at the same time, I was going to ask, I mean, how much are the environmentalists, which happen to control the White House right now, I mean, are they going to affect our domestic operations?
Fracking is a big controversial issue right now, and that's a big source of our national natural gas as well as crude oil. there's a lot of environmental concerns going on right now. I know, I'm sure you've heard of the Green New Deal that proposed that we end all flight travel and become completely energy independent. But a lot of those things are hanging in the balance, and it really just depends on how the political climate continues to change in the United States. But trending where the things are going, we are continuing to become more oil independent, and I think that's something that most Americans agree upon, is more manufacturing and more domestic products should be coming from the United States rather than seeking it elsewhere. Because overall, the U.S. imports more than it exports, and oil is one of those instances where we do import more than we export, although the sources we import from are in our same continent for the most part. But a lot of those things we would like to see produced naturally on American soil to keep things in-house, so to speak, because it's going to propagate the best solution for us in the country, because we're creating American jobs in those energy industries rather than outsourcing those jobs elsewhere.
Now, David, I have a quick question for you. So when we look at Afghanistan, we're looking at, the fact that a majority of our oil is not only partially domestic, but a little bit closer to the neighbors that like us. Do you think long-term the image of Afghanistan and kind of what just went down there is going to affect other areas potentially? Because although oil, it could have minimal impact on oil, not as big as we would think. But do you think Afghanistan could have effects on other industries, maybe even with our allies and partners in the Middle East or in Europe or in Asia?
China and Russia have both already stated that they're willing to work with the Taliban. And so if they're able to take control of some form of infrastructure to be able to obtain more crude oil from their country, because a lot of Afghanistan is more farmlands and it doesn't have that much developed infrastructure in comparison to a country like Iraq. And so if they develop resources or make deals with China, China can make deals, as they have done in lots of countries across the world, where they'll take mineral rights or something along those lines in return for building the infrastructure themselves for these countries. And so that'll be interesting to see how it develops their relations with Russia and China, who would be the largest source of income for them to be able to obtain infrastructure like that and have the resources to be able to build something that would make them a large player in that oil field and in that part of the world. Saudi Arabia is still the largest exporter of oil in the Middle East. And so that'll be interesting to see how Saudi Arabia interacts with them as well as time goes on. They've currently not made any signs of not doing any business with them.
No, David, I'm a little curious. You sound very knowledgeable on this topic. Like, you sound like you've done your research.
Yeah, like, I'm so curious, David, where the hell Jessica found you? Was he just out on the steps of MIT one day, or?
I have a semi-photographic memory, so when I research things, a lot of them stick. So I don't have to look at it twice, so to speak.
What a gift!
John Spencer.
It's a gift and a curse.
What were you saying, Jess?
I said it's like John Spencer from Psych.
That's a good show. No, I mean that is far more than I could have ever expected. We could have got into. So thank you for that, David. I really appreciate that, and thank you for your questions, John. We've covered kind of how this could affect our current petroleum market or internationally, as well as other industries. There's always conflict in the Middle East. I know that there's a very bad situation going on right now in Afghanistan, but if you look at the kind of images that we see on the news, we see things that are maybe not this, but that are similar to this in that same region of the world every 5 to 10 years, don't we?
Right. And there was a suicide bombing in the Kabul airport that killed 12 U.S. soldiers, and that was the most United States casualties since before 2010 in the Middle East conflict. And so the fact that we've haven't had significant losses that have been eclipsed by something in 2022 over the last 12 years, we haven't eclipsed that, lends the credibility that either we're very good at what we do over there, or it may be blown out of proportion. And the percent of what you see on the media and what you see on the news may be blowing what is truly going on over there out of proportion.
Oh, I'm sure that's true, David. And I bet the most gruesome, raunchy stuff that our military is involved in, we don't even find out about because it's classified. I mean, we say we haven't lost 12 that many people in 12 years, but like, how many like special operations like groups have just gone missing off the face of the earth that nobody's known about either? Like, what was that? I don't remember if this is in your same timeline or not, but the SEAL team that captured Bin Laden. Like, what was it, like a month and a half after the Bin Laden raid? They were flying some routine mission over Afghanistan and were shot down and were all killed. I don't know how many was on that SEAL team. I know I'm digressing here, but
Are you talking about Lone Survivor?
no, I went to a gala at the Greensboro Country Club several years ago. It was a fundraiser, and they had this lieutenant colonel who was an author. Was a guest speaker. He was the lieutenant colonel over something there when that happened, and he ended up leaving the military and like writing a book about it because like there were people on the ground that like kept like calling up and sending to the military saying like, hey, there are guys here with RPGs, like we need to take them out. And like all these signals kept coming up about it, and like somewhere in like the military chain of command it was all stopped, and they kept like withdrawing soldiers from being able to go take care of those guys. And then they made like that helicopter convoy fly right over them at a low altitude, and like they wouldn't let people respond. And so like this speaker was obviously writing a book and going off the fact that he left the military after a long, distinguished service history. Because even though he wasn't a conspiracy theorist, he still saw evidence that there was an organized action in play that seemed to try to put that SEAL team in harm's way and get them killed. But I don't know. That's more of a subject for Declassified, what lies behind America, Jessica.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Are you all fans of conspiracy theories, or?
Yeah.
Not
Well,
Denver, whole airport. People believe that the Illuminati are under my airport here in Denver.
Okay.
There's a blue horse with a massive cock on it, standing right outside the airport, and people believe it's supposed to be like some monster that they'll ride it into hell or something. Like.
Have you seen the artwork there, though? There is some what seems to be communist imagery there, and so I mean they seem to prod the rumors. I think it says made by a Mason of some kind on one of the plaques as well at the Denver airport. I don't think that the Illuminati runs out of the bottom of the Denver airport, but it does seem like some masonry funding came to build it. I don't think that that's out of the question.
No, I mean, sure, masonry funding has funded all kinds of things that are not sketchy all over the place. They do it very openly and very publicly, which is, I think, why, obviously, if there's anything that Masons are tied to, people run with that. But, yeah,
right.
Y'all both make good points. So as we move on here, guys, one thing I wanted to touch on or bring to light for conversation here, we've been doing a lot of talking and looking at cryptocurrencies in the markets the last few months, few years. And when Bitcoin came out, it was a very unstable currency. It was very volatile. There weren't nearly as many investors as there are now. There's a lot of people, especially of maybe the generations above us in our age group, that didn't believe it as a safe investment because it wasn't tied to any one thing, and it could just any kind of factor outside of our control could make it fluctuate. But now we're seeing a different trend in society. You have younger people, older people, first-time investors getting involved in cryptocurrency. You have people mining. You have we have just far more people, masses all over the globe transacting with and investing in cryptocurrency. So there's more investors, more people. It's raising the platform. It's making more volume of the currency overall. And as a result, it takes power away from any one person to be able to fluctuate it like certain people used to be able to do. And as a result, it's more stable in the market now. So is it a safer investment? Is crypto really actually making the comeback that we've all hoped? Is this just a phase, guys? I mean, I'm curious to really hear all of y'all's opinion about this.
to the moon. It's going to the moon.
I hope you're right, Jess.
Dogecoin? Because I'm having Tina at my house, so people are now on live with us. Throwing $100 in Dogecoin.
I mean, I know what it is. Hey, Jeff, tell your friends this morning. I had about $3,400 worth of Dogecoin this morning, and this morning I put another $600 on them because my bet is they're here for the long haul and they're going to keep going up. And I'm here to play in this market. I don't talk about things throwing money on daily. So.
Oh yeah, I need another beer.
Yeah. Well, you get your beer, Jess. Banker, David, what are your thoughts on this crypto deal?
I think cryptocurrency really highlights some of the issues with the United States currency system that we've, I want to say, put up with up to this point. In years past, the U.S. has been backed by a gold dollar system where you can go to the United States Treasury and trade in every dollar for X amount of gold, and every dollar is an agreed amount upon price for gold. And so what FDR did is he pretty much randomly changed the value of the gold to increase the value of the currency to pay off some debt in World War II. And that happened. And then Richard Nixon actually got rid of the gold system, and so then our dollar just became what's called a fiat currency, which is just a faith of American a complete faith system where the dollar isn't backed by anything. You can't return it for anything, whether gold or silver. Certain currencies in other countries are still backed by rare minerals, but our dollar became so that the United States can just print off however many dollars they want. And since it's not backed to any particular value or logged to any gold, it's not locked in at a particular rate, they can just print off any amount of dollars to pay off any amount of debt. And so you as an American can have $100 in your pocket. And if, like last year in 2020, they decide to print out $3 trillion more dollars, your $100 is now worth 5% less than it was, just because now there's more money in circulation. And so the United States government has entire control of how much our currency is worth. In terms of US dollars. But with something like cryptocurrency, it's the exact opposite. No one source controls the value of cryptocurrency. The value.
Real quick on that, David. And John, I'm sorry if this was your question. That being said, does cryptocurrency and its existence, is that going to help strengthen the American dollar, or will that make it weaker? Or is it just off in a playing field by itself and it won't have any effect whatsoever on the value of our currency?
I'm interested to hear John's thoughts on this. John,
John, you want to take this first before David? I mean,
I don't know. I look at it from two different aspects. I don't think it'll help the dollar at all. I don't think it'll strengthen the dollar. I don't know if it'll weaken it though, because I feel like most people don't look at cryptocurrency as a currency, but rather a short-term investment. I think globally there's initiative from the government to shut down cryptocurrency. Like, you look at China and they're banning or trying their best to ban cryptocurrency. They don't want it there.
That's a good point. We haven't talked about that, but that's been one of the reasons over the last quarter why we've had such big dips, John, is because of this every time China wants to go regulate it, Elon Musk also goes and opens his mouth in a way that's not good for crypto. And that's all I'll say, because I don't really understand the specifics of it all. But every time there's a dip, that seems to be what it is. It's because China goes back to the drawing table to talk about regulations.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know enough about cryptocurrency to really make a case on whether or not it would be good for the government, or I guess good for the dollar or not. I mean, what I do see though is I see kind of like initiative to begin using cryptocurrency. Like, now there's like crypto ATMs that exist. People,
I like
you got Coinbase, you got Cash App, where now it kind of like, PayPal's outdated, but Cash App allows you to put your money into crypto and things like that.
Hey, how are you going to hate on Elon Musk's first project?
They own Venmo too, so you can pick your poison, but PayPal and Venmo They're owned by the same company.
Well, you know how
Yeah.
PayPal started, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
it was. Wasn't he like in high school, or it was either a high school or a college project for Musk?
And then he sold it.
And he was like broke, like working his way through college to support his poor immigrant French Canadian mother. That like, and then what was it, like 2.2 billion he sold it to eBay for? Something. And by the way, we're talking about dollar inflations. You brought a good point about that up, or the changing the value of the dollar. I believe back in the 90s when he sold it, 2.2 billion was a hell of a lot more than it is now.
Absolutely. It's average of 2% inflation per year. It was 5% last year. That was a high year, but I think, like John was saying, I don't think cryptocurrency is going to threaten the U.S. dollar at the moment, just because you can't go to the grocery store and buy groceries with cryptocurrency. You can't pay your rent with cryptocurrency in most cases, unless you knew your landlord personally and you had some sort of arrangement with him to give him Bitcoin. But I don't think that that's the majority of cases for most Americans. The majority of what most Americans spend is American dollars. The advantage of cryptocurrency, though, is you don't have to convert it if you want to trade it internationally. And so I think as an international currency, I think it's going to gain traction as long as countries like China don't put bans on it, which could very greatly decrease the amount of trust that people have in the system if it doesn't become accepted universally, or if there are sanctions put on it internationally.
David, say that China does. Let's say that China is successful with their ban on crypto or on Bitcoin or whatever, and no other country outlaws it. Let's say every other country is not communist like China and North Korea, and they see it as a good thing, and they just keep rolling with the times. Obviously that would make crypto stocks dip in the short term, but what would that? I mean, wouldn't that hurt China long term if they exempted themselves from that currency, or are they just big and powerful enough that it wouldn't matter? I mean, I would think if they're the only dog in this fight, trying to stir this fight up, they box themselves out in a way if they keep that outside of the walls of their country, because it's a growing thing. You know, I mean, I kind of thought, well, if this really stabilizes and becomes a one world thing, and is here for the long haul, I mean, why wouldn't the U.S. Treasury get involved with investing in it for the sake of earning American dollars? I mean, for starters, we have a deficit we could chip away at. So
I think we need to remember that how volatile cryptocurrency is as well. Like for David's example, my apologies if I kind of cut in here, but he mentioned how Americans don't pay their landlords rent with Bitcoin. Well, what if your rent's $1,000 and then you hand, that the value, or $1,000 at the time worth of Bitcoin to the landlord, and then all of a sudden it's worth like $600. I'd be a little pissed. I'm just gonna say.
Hey, John, what if you paid people in Ethereum, however you say it, and then the next day, every single day, it goes up by 5% after that?
I think it's based off of different situations. I mean,
yeah. You're being on the receiving end of that shit. You like it, I know.
No.
Hey, so David, I sent John some ETH last week, and of course, when I did, it's just gone up massively every day since. So it's been a good deal for him. Hey, real quick, I know Jessica has to go. So Jessica, if you're still with us, you got anything else for us tonight?
Not tonight. I'm sorry. I've been preoccupied. It's been team night over at my house. So
You're hosting sex parties.
Shooting pool and having a few brews. Unprepared for tonight. 100%.
We appreciate you being here with us, and we look forward to having you on the way we see it this weekend.
Of course. I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye.
All right. So, circling back here on my list, I know we were scheduled to wrap up soon, guys. The math question I had for you guys. We've been going through economy, oil numbers, stocks. Now we've been talking crypto. So, David, the past few episodes, John and I have been going through this project our show started. We have decided to get into the vending machine business, and every month we have been purchasing several brand new candy vending machines. like the base stand with like either 2 or 3 of the candy machine has, where you can sell like 2 kinds of candy and inch gumballs.
Yeah.
And I've been putting them out. Now, so I was doing some math earlier and was doing calculations and ratios on percentages, and I have a question. So, and y'all are both numbers guys, so you might be able to help me out with this. I just forget what the formula is. So we sell gumballs at this show's gumball business. If you buy a gumball or a handful of candy, you put a quarter in the machine. That's 25 cents. Now, our cost to purchase the machine, to purchase the candy for it, and now we factor in the vending machine paying for itself over the year. So if over the course of the first 12 months, a percentage goes back to pay off the machine, and a percentage goes back to pay for the gumballs, that cost us about 7 cents per transaction. Now, which leaves us with an 18 cents per transaction margin. Somebody puts in 25 cents into a machine. We make 18 cents. There's 7 cents worth of cost. So with those numbers, what percentage of the whole 25 cents is 18?
Hold on. So you said it was 25 cents a gumball?
72%.
It's 70%?
72. Yep.
Holy cow, did you do that in your head?
No.
Okay. So, give me the formula on that.
It's just 18 divided by 25.
I knew it was something so simple. Thank you. I was just staring at it on paper, and I'm like this is the easiest thing. Like if 25, or 20, the number 25 for 25 cents is 100%, and we take away 7 out of it, and we're down to 18. What percent? So we lose 18%. No, 20. Gosh, this is how bad I am with numbers.
I think you're overthinking
18.
it a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Point is, you divide one by the other, and that answers that.
Yep, that's right.
Good. Glad we have you guys.
I mean, it's an actual equation. I think I learned about it in accounting. I think it was because you also do that for any really profit margin in general. But it's like gross profit divided by marginal cost or something like that.
Hang on.
And then it'll bring you.
I'm writing this down. Gross profit divided by marginal cost.
Or not marginal cost. I think it's unit cost or something like that. Unit cost. If it was marginal cost, it'd be each time you purchase an additional unit. But
yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Because we're not talking about. No, that would give us our margins. The gross profit divided by the unit cost would give us the margin. It wouldn't be the. Yeah. Okay, you're right. Unit equals the margin. Great. Thank you. That was helpful. I'm glad I asked.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah. Well, guys, we have gone over our 35-minute mark. I appreciate both of you being here tonight. We've covered a lot of different little things. And for those of y'all listening, I hope y'all learned something along the way. We learn as we do this podcast. We take it 1 week at a time here at Weekly Wallet Wagers. So we'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions as well. You can also check us out on YouTube, of course, at willsworldchannel.com, or drawing a blank, Baker, thinking of our website.
Will's World Channel.
Yeah, thank you. I was just saying because our YouTube's the same. I do this every week. I don't know why I'm still messing it up at this point. That's why it's good we're doing a podcast and not like Saturday Night Live right now. John, you got anything else for us tonight, buddy?
No, that'll be it. If anybody ever has any ideas or needs anything or wants us to talk about anything specific, feel free to shoot Will or I a message. We'll review and see if it's something that we could answer. So
yeah, John, or we could go one up here. Y'all, we care about customer service at this show so much that right now, to prove my loyalty, I'm going to give you guys a phone number to call with any suggestions, day or night. That is 815-758-5165. which is also Jonathan's personal cell phone number. So thank you for that, John.
You can also find it on my website, CarolinaRabbitCompany.com. Make sure you purchase some ammunition. Just saying.
There you go. Mr. Miller, thank you for being here with us tonight. I know we kind of gave you a bio at the beginning of the show, but tell us exactly what you do. I mean, you are very well read, very well informed. Clearly, you're good at what you do. We'd love to hear more about that real quick.
As far as what my current work role is, or what I've done in the past, or okay.
Give us both. Now you have
yeah. Well, I started out in the sales world doing door-to-door sales and worked my way up. And then I worked for a contractor for Duke Energy as an energy efficiency advisor, where we'd go to big business buildings. And Duke has incentives to remediate old light fixtures and energy using appliances for newer ones that use less energy, because Duke supplies more electricity in the Raleigh area than they have. They have to get it in from other states, actually. But neither here nor there. I went from doing that to doing freight brokering and doing logistics and analyst role, as well as freight brokering. And so I would work with household names. Well, I think I had an NDA, so I can't say anybody specifically, but
Sure.
Certainly folks that you would know. And so every single business that you think of, be it Walmart or Costco, they have all stores stocked with things on the shelves, and they have to come from trucks from somewhere. And so I worked for the second largest 3PL in the country, which is a third-party logistics company. And so businesses that don't have their own trucks, they hire out 3PLs, and then the 3PLs will reach out to truck drivers individually and negotiate the rates, and then you make the margins off of the rates that you negotiate with the drivers. And so it would be my job to analyze the routes and figure out what the shipment commodities were, to be able to figure out what a correct amount to quote to the customer would be, to make a good margin. But you learn a lot about how things move across the country doing that. You learn about supply chain, which supply chain rolls everything. Supplies is what generates a lot of our business in America. And so there's a lot more money in freight than you'd realize, just thinking about it, because the companies pay us, and then we pay the drivers, and then sometimes we would pay another logistics company who would then hire a driver out. And so that would be very interesting. So there's like 4 different hands pulling off of the same pile of money. But you learn a lot about logistics and supply chain doing that. And now I'm a business analyst for a software company. I analyze market trends for customers. Customers will reach out to me directly, and I'll answer market performance questions for them, how key points of interest that they're seeing in their data and would like more clarification on. And so I'm a direct liaison for a lot of our customers that we have. I also create internal marketing materials through our own data that we have to create internal sales documents for our salespeople to be able to go out and actually leverage the information to sell the products. So I'm involved in a lot of different aspects. I'm basically the senior data analyst. That would be the equivalent of what my role is there. My job title is business analyst, but I'm the head honcho in that department. But so I get involved in all things data. And so I just love numbers. I love learning new things. I have a hunger for knowledge, and I love applying myself to new things. And so I feel like that's what's lended me to have a little bit of a knowledge base in a lot of different areas. But that's a little bit about me. I know that was kind of just my work history, not anything about me personally. I grew up in New Hampshire. I moved to North Carolina when I was about 13. My parents kicked me out when I was before I graduated high school for being a bit of a reefer addict.
Nice. That's a business economy thing that we haven't even dove into on this show yet. We'll make a whole episode out of it. John, you live in Denver. You could be our on the ground correspondent there.
A product tester.
Yeah, John.
He's always wait a second, John, you can do that.
John, I wish we could trade where we live. I know you hate it there and I hate it here. We don't even have to worry about leases. You can just take over my apartment, I'll take over yours, and I'll go to Denver, you come to Raleigh.
I just have to find a job out there. That's the first step.
Oh, by the way, David, very impressive bio, very extensive. We are very grateful and blessed to have you tonight, especially with your expertise. Your software company that you're working at, are y'all hiring right now?
Yeah.
Okay. This is not for me. After last week's show, John knows who I'm talking about. We have a mutual friend that has a degree in business and accounting that I think was looking for just looking at different big companies that you know where I'm going with this, John. But you ought to give Claude his number.
I certainly know some recruiters at other companies as well.
Yeah.
The majority of our staff are software developers, being that we're a software company. So there are limited account management roles as far as openings go there. But however, that doesn't mean that they aren't available. And I certainly am always happy to put in a good word for somebody who does, a really good job.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that. So again, just always interested. I know it seems like these days every single company out there is hiring, as we're always assessing the market. So.
I work remotely, which is very nice. I'm sorry.
Cool. I like that.
It's a bit of a different dynamic to be able to work in sweatpants and be able to make coffee whenever you want, or even just take lunch whenever, or even make food downstairs and then just go back to your desk and continue working.
It doesn't even have to be coffee during the workday. That's the nice thing about it.
That's true.
Whatever, anything in that cup you want.
Anything in a bowl as well.
Sure. Guys, again, thank y'all for being here. We'll see y'all next week on Weekly Wallet Wagers. And again, y'all please like and subscribe. See y'all next week.